dancers, we had a request, or a couple requests to review the Rumba class that I did several weeks ago on the different walks and a couple turns I believe I did. So we're going to start with the different amounts of Rumba walks. Once you understand which step you're doing, what type of walk or action, then the figures are a lot easier. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about 6 or 7 walks, and then I'm going to put together, or I'm going to demonstrate parts of the closed bronze routine, and I will do the ladies' figures, and I'm going to call out each type of walk as we're doing it. So, hold on for one moment, please. Okay, I'm still on. At some point, I will most certainly be talking to myself. Now, we are talking about international rumba. There's different technique in international rumba from American rumba. And so, what we're going to start with is a Latin walk forward. Now, I'm going to move a little bit quickly. When we do a Latin walk forward, the most important thing here is that we arrive on a straightened leg. You straighten the leg right before you fully transfer weight. So if I were doing a Latin walk forward on my right foot, I'm going to settle to come here to neutral. I'm going to rotate this side back, but most importantly, right before I take that step, my leg locks, absolutely locks, and I arrive on a straight leg. I fully release out of my back foot to leave the toe. All my weight is over the front leg. Now, some people might say 95%, 5%. I like to say we're just leaving pressure into the floor from the back leg. So if I take a full, this is just a Latin walk forward. I'll do my left foot since you can see that. I settle a little bit. I'm all the way over the leg. And I settle to come to here. And then I step forward and release and get all the way over this step. But this leg must straighten before you arrive. Now, in Latin there is turnout, but not that much. Maybe like an eighth. Everybody's shaped a little bit different feet and stuff. So when you step forward, we are not turning out a lot. And straight is okay, but definitely not turned in. Also, when I say a locked, straight leg, everybody's legs and knees are different. Mine tend to hyperextend, which means they go back a little bit. But it's absolutely locked. It's not here, it's locked. Okay? So the first step is a Latin walk forward, and I'm going to talk very quickly about settling. We settle to move. And there's different actions, different types of settling. There's a weight transfer, which is the first one we do. But if I'm over this leg, I will settle to initiate something moving. Okay? Lateral moving is hips back and forth. Rotational is, well, hips back and forth this way. And twisting is when we really move the hips to change direction. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the hip twist. So, when I do a Latin walk forward, I'd be completely over this leg. I go ahead and do a little weight transfer to bring my leg to neutral. And then this hip, another type of settling, is going to rotate backwards to send me forward. The next step, so walk number 1, the next step is a back step. Again, the standing leg stays straight. You bend the traveling leg. You put it behind you. You straighten it, and then you push back into a straight leg. Don't fall into the step. Okay? When you take a back step, again, you'll settle. Well, I'll talk about that in a second. You're going to bend the knee. You're going to get to this D position, I call it. You're going to reach back, straighten the leg, and then transfer back. You'll go back to neutral with your core in. It's not a big step. Now, settling for a back step. You got to start neutral. You have to have somewhere to settle from. So you're going to rotate. If I'm going back on my right foot, I'm going to rotate my left hip back to get to that D position. Now, I'm going to push back to go to neutral. So if I did another back step or a transfer, no matter what, this hip will then rotate to move me somewhere. Okay, so we have a forward walk and we have a back walk. The next step is a forward walk turning. Now, when I do a regular Latin walk forward, I step into on a different path than my standing leg. When I am going to turn afterwards, I step forward into the same line of my standing leg, or even slightly across that line. Here, you put the heel down, straighten the leg, everything is the same, and then you do the required amount of turn. We're going to do half turns. Okay, so if I did a forward walk turning on my left foot, I step forward and in line or slightly across my standing leg, I put the heel down. The heel remains down. My weight is not in the heel. My weight's on the ball of the foot, but you do not do foot rise and pop up as you turn. It's down and you twist. It's basically just all core. So we've done a forward walk. We've done a back walk. All right. Still on. And a turning walk forward. The fourth is a check walk. Anytime you hear check, it's a change of direction in any dance. And when we change direction, you can't fully get out all the way 100%, or you can't change direction quickly anyways, if you get 100% over the foot. So a checked walk is about 60-40. Some people might say 70-30. There is no 100% correct answer here. But when I do a Latin walk forward, I'm completely released out of my back toe, and I'm 100% on the front leg. When I do a check walk, I'm about 70-30. The ball of my back foot is on the ground, and I'm only 70% forward into a straight leg. Now, the two places that we do checks, one is the basic. So, if I did a basic, and I'm starting with the ladies with the right foot back, I settle and I go into a back step. 2. A transfer is when I simply leave the leg straight. That's all you do. You leave it straight and you transfer your weight right back to it. And then I'm going to settle and do a side step. A side step is like we can call it a walk, or a type of walk, but you still must straighten the leg, put the heel down, and then transfer weight. And then we do a checked walk forward for the rest of the basics. So I settle and I check. I leave this hip up. The ball of my back foot is on the ground. I go and 2. I settle by bending only the back knee to lightly kiss the side and the back of the front knee, and I straighten back into a straight leg, push back into a straight leg. I settle and go into another side step. So an international basic, if some of you haven't done this yet. Again, American basic is slow and quick. In American style, you land on a bent knee, and then you straighten the leg. No matter which dance, you're going to straighten the leg eventually. So if I was doing a ladies basic, just starting with the right foot back, I go and back step, transfer, and then side, and then I settle and I check, I settle and go back, I settle and side, and then we would repeat. But as far as so far, the walks that we have are forward, backward, turning, and check. Now, in bronze, we only do this once, but it's a pressed walk forward. And it's when we're here. You have the ball of the foot more of the toe pressed into the ground, but the weight is still mostly on the back foot and the back heel is down. And I'll demonstrate this in a closed hip twist. But this is a pressed walk forward. So when we're going to do a closed hip twist, a closed hip twist is when the lady goes back, transfer, and turns into a pressed walk forward. Now in a pressed walk forward, the foot, the shin, and the knee need to be straight here. So when you twist and go into this, well, this is obviously silly, but you definitely want it to be all lined up like this. Okay? Pressed walk forward. Now, the next two, we're going to do an alemana to demonstrate. An alemana is a type of turn. And we'll talk about that later. A delayed walk forward is when you very quickly point your foot to where it's going to go. And then there's no more travel. You very quickly turn and transfer weight onto it. So if I did a regular walk from here, I wouldn't delay the foot, I would step onto it. A delayed walk is very quickly point first, and then step onto it. But straight leg rule still applies. Now ladies, you can't, this is optional, but you can do a delayed walk forward in an alemana. The second step of an alemana is called an extended walk forward. And that's when you leave the leg straight and you purposely slide a little bit. Not too much to the point where you can't get your weight over it fast enough, but you still push out of the back leg to get yourself there. And you extend the walk a little bit further than normal. And we do this in an alemana because if you can imagine my leader partner right here, you take a slightly smaller step to not get too deep past him. He's right here. You extend this walk forward, you turn, and then the last step depends on which figure you're going to do next. In most cases for me, I'm going to do a closed hip twist or opening out, which means I will turn after this step. Therefore, I don't go completely straight forward. I go forward in line because the next figure I will do has a turn. You have to set yourself up for turns a little bit. Look, if I try to do a turning walk forward, and I don't cross the path, if I step forward into a separate path and just do a regular Latin walk, and I leave my feet right where they are, when I do my half a turn, it can be off balance because my foot is over here instead of just in line here. Okay? So, we have forward, we have back, we have turning walk forward, we have a check walk, we have a delayed walk, an extended walk, and then again, a side step is you must straighten the leg. You put the ball and then the heel down, and then you transfer weight over it. And then a transfer is, for example, after any back step, if you're going to go forward again, you transfer. Now, your feet, when you do a transfer, especially when you're first learning, you want to leave the foot right where it is. But your foot might slide the tiniest bit. Especially the more advanced you get, when you take a back step, you can pull in from your core a little bit and then you can move the foot forward. But for right now, just think of a transfer as taking your weight from this leg, leave both legs straight, and just push back into this leg. Okay? Let me check. All right. So, what I'm going to do, and I see that there's one gentleman on there, but I'm going to do, let's see how I want to do this. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to do the whole routine just in the order of it goes. I'm going to do several steps, and I will do the lead and the follow. But the first step that I'm going to do is a fan development. So, if none of you have done, if any of you have not done international rumba, fan position is when the lady is pointing her right foot forward, weight on the left foot, arm out to the side, this arm's connected to the partner, and then the gentleman is perpendicular to that partner. So the lady, if I was in fan position, I'd be facing this way, and my partner would be facing this way. So there's several ways to get to fan position. And fan development is slightly more advanced. It's not harder, you just travel more. So ladies, I'm going to start facing you. We would start with a back step. We'd be in closed dance position. And we would go back, transfer, forward walk. About an eighth turn to the left right now. The gentleman would bring his hand down, and we would go forward walk turning, and then a back step. And we would be in fan position, ladies. So again, this is fan development. This is getting the lady to fan position. I'm a lady, I'm in closed dance position. I do a back step, a transfer, and a forward walk. I do a forward walk turning, and then a back step. And gentlemen, Johnny, I see you on there, we would do, and I'm going to do it from this angle, we would do a check, half a basic, we do a checked walk forward. Transfer back, we do a quarter of a turn and a side step. The ladies right here, we're technically in promenade position. So if I do it this way now, I go 2 and 3 and 4. I lead the lady to do an eighth of a turn to the left. I step back, small step. I transfer back and then side. So we're here, gentlemen, and the lady would be here. But the most important part of today, like the figures I want you to know, but I want you to see how to divide each figure down to the actual step that you're doing. So ladies, you're doing a back step. You're transferring, and you're doing a forward Latin walk. You're doing a forward Latin walk, a forward walk turning, and a back step. So if you practice all your walks, then you just got to put them in a certain pattern. From there, we're going to do a hockey stick. Ladies, we're on that angle. You stay facing the angle that you arrived on. When we're in fan position, the gentleman checks forward, so we can't do a back step. You're going to do a fan close. You're going to bring in your right foot, and you're going to switch. Now in Rumba, we have a little bit more time than cha-cha to do a close and fan position. So you bring in your heel, you got to keep your foot turned out. And listen, there's many different ways people can teach this. I've had people teach the close the feet completely forward. You bring in your heel, you get to this D position. You can very quickly straighten both legs. You don't do foot rise though. And then you settle to form that D position, and then you're going to leave with a walk. But this all happens on and 2. So it would go and 2 and 3. So I'm in fan. A hockey stick goes this way and then another eighth. So ladies, I'm going to move up in case you can't see me. Ladies, you would close and a 2. You do a forward walk and a forward walk. You turn an eighth. You do a forward walk. You do a forward walk turning. And you do a back step. And now it looks like you're in fan position, but the gentleman will be facing you in open dance position. So, fan position is this for the lady. Depending on where the gentleman is, it depends on what we're going to do next. If the gentleman is perpendicular in actual fan position, then the guy's going to check and the lady closes. At the end of a back step, the end of a hockey stick, the gentleman is going to be in open dance position, and the lady's here. So you wouldn't close here, you would do a back step. It's kind of hard to demonstrate without a partner, but we're in quarantine. So, I'm going to do fan development through hockey stick. And I'm going to call out the types of walks. And then I'm going to look to see if there's any questions. So, ladies, we'll do a back step, 2, a transfer, 3, and a forward walk, 4, an 8th to the left. And we go walk, turning walk. Squeeze your thighs, keep them squeezed, and step back on the left. We are now in fan position. So we do a close, a forward walk, and a forward walk, an 8th, and you do a forward walk turning, and then a back step. And we just did fan development and then a hockey stick. Okay? All right. I don't see any questions. Now, I'm going to skip natural top. Natural top's a little bit different. As you go around the natural top, I'm just doing the guy step. Ladies, you go side, forward, side, and we go around, and you don't have to fully straighten your legs in a natural top. I'm going to pass that up, and I'm going to do a closed hip twist to fan for the ladies first. So ladies, you would have just stepped forward in line on your left foot. You're in closed dance position. You're on the gentleman, you're on the right side position of the gentleman. Your leader is right here. A closed hip twist starts with half a turn. You do a back step. You transfer, and then you do half a turn into a pressed walk forward. I'm going to do it from the other way too. You hold 1. We don't dance on 1. On the and, before the 2, you very quickly straighten the right leg and you do a hip twist. It's an abrupt twist chord to move the hips to change direction. That's and. So I'm here. I hold 1 and 2, forward Latin walk. 3 is a turning walk forward, and 4 is back, and ladies are in fan position. So I'm going to do it from this way. Wait a minute. Okay, this way. So ladies, here's my partner facing this way. We go and a half a turn. You step back, 2, transfer 3, pressed walk forward, 4, hold 1. This leg straightens very quickly. This one goes to it, and it's a twist to D position. That's and. 2, 3, and 4. And we're in fan position. Okay? So, that's the first use of our pressed walk forward. And again, a twisting action or a hip twist is a lot of rotations through the hips. You hold back on the shoulders and it twists you to the side. And it's just to change direction very quickly. Okay? So, one more time. I'm going to go from this way. I'm a lady. Half a turn, and that's done before you step. It's 2, 3, and 4. 1, and 2, 3, and 4. And we end in fan position. Now, to demonstrate checked actions, checked walks, we're going to do New Yorkers, and this is the same rules applied. The figure is the same for ladies and gentlemen. So, we are going to break this down slowly. You can't really dance it like this. At full speed, you practice the way I'm going to show you, and then at full speed, you do the best you can. Anytime I say and, you're going to be settling or changing direction. Or settling and changing direction. So, if I'm going to do a New Yorker to my right, I start on my right foot. A lot of people, if I say do a New Yorker to the right, they start on their left foot because they think they need some momentum to get you going to the right. When I do a New Yorker, I change direction and I do a check walk, 2. I settle and 3, back to 2 straight legs. I change direction, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1, and. Okay? You have to use your core. If I'm going to turn to my right, and I'm going to bring this foot to neutral, I don't think about bringing this one around so much. I think about taking this hip, and I twist it back. And then I check. In Rumba, we have time, so we land on 2 straight legs very briefly. You bend the back knee and then transfer. And again, to change, face my partner again, I twist. You have to twist to change direction. And then side. I hold 1 and I twist. And 2, and 3, and 4. Now again, I'll do it like full speed. You practice it like that, and it blends together a little bit, but you should be able to get all those actions in at full speed. It goes and 2, and 3, and 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1. So, this is a change of direction, a check walk, transfer back, change of direction, and a side step. All right. The next step is a spot turn. Now, a spot turn, this gets confusing because there's different syllabus, there's different ways of teaching. Again, I did the ISTD, there's the Vita, that people can say things differently. Some people say an alemana is any turn where the ladies holding the guy's holding the lady's hand. I learned an alemana is a specific way, and that you have an underarm turn to the right and an underarm turn to the left. It's not definitely an alemana. I don't even really know. Look, a spot turn is 3 forward walks turning. So an alemana is a type of spot turn. When I want you to think of a spot turn, we're just going to say it like this. So you're going to stay right here in this line. And I want you to do it this way. I want you to change direction, and you do a forward walk turn. You change direction a half a turn. You do a transfer. You change direction and do a side step. That is not the only way that you can do these, but I would suggest that you do them this way. And if I did a spot turn to my left, I would change direction. I do a forward walk turning because I'm going to turn here. Half a turn. I transfer, I change direction, and then side. So it would go and 2, and 3, and 4. The ands, I'm changing direction. The 2, 3, or 4 is when I'm changing weight. So, and 2, and 3, and 4. Now listen, again, there's different techniques you can do. In international Latin, you need to arrive on a straight leg. So the safest way to do that, if you're new to this, is after you take this step and you turn, just leave it straight. Leave it right where it is, and leave both legs straight. But you can also track your foot. This would be considered a better technique, but if you do it incorrectly and you land on a bent knee, it's wrong. Okay? So what that would look like is I take a step forward, I walk, and I track the foot. But it must, as I step, it must straighten before I land on it again. And then side. So it would be 2, 3, and 4. I guess many people would say, because it's subjective, that that looks better, okay, especially on women. But again, you must straighten the leg before you land on it. So, What I would like us to do, I'm going to do it a few times. Let me see if there's any questions or if I'm talking to myself. Hello, Kevin. We've never met. Okay. So what we're going to practice is one New Yorker to the right or left, it doesn't matter, one spot turn, and then one hand-to-hand, which we're going to get into. So, the New Yorker, I change direction. I do a check, I transfer, I change direction inside. Now I'm going to do a spot turn. So I change direction, do a turning walk forward, a transfer, and a side. Okay? And just for fun, I'll do it this way. It doesn't really matter. We change direction, and we check. And you transfer, and you turn back side, and a spot turn this way. Forward walk turning, transfer, and side. Again, this isn't wrong to go forward first and then do a quarter of a turn at the end of it. It's not wrong. A lot of people, though, to look a little bit sharper, would do this action first and then side, just to make it look a little bit more competitive. That's all, a little bit stronger. So, the next step we're going to do after that is one hand-to-hand, but we're going to use silver technique. Again, a regular hand-to-hand is if I had my partner, we would each do a quarter of a turn. We would do a back step, we would do a transfer, and another quarter of a turn and face our partner. But instead of that last quarter of a turn, we're going to do a forward walk turning and a half a turn. So I have my partner here. He turns me, quarter turn. I step back, 2. I transfer, 3. I do a forward walk turning, half a turn. And we'll do 2 of these. So I settle and step back. I transfer. I do a forward walk turning and half a turn. Okay? So again, this is basically all I'm going to do for today. But we're going to practice this a few times now. One New Yorker, one spot turn, 2 hand-to-hands. Now, even demonstrating this, guys, my calves and my hamstrings and quads, I wouldn't say they're fatigued, but I'm using them. Okay? At all times, you are using both legs, even when you're standing still. When I'm standing still, all my muscles are engaged. This leg is pointing and it's keeping pressure to the floor. If somebody kicked my foot, it wouldn't just fly right away. All right? And your core must stay in. Will it work if you don't do any of this stuff? Yes, but I'm talking about improving to make it look good. So, I'm going to start to my right, New Yorker. I change direction and I check. I settle and step. Keep the standing leg. This one, absolutely locked. A lot of people, when they turn back to face their partner, it buckles. They turn and buckle it and then straighten. The standing leg stays straight. Do it again. We go and 2, and 3, and side. Spot turn. And 2, and 3, and side. Hand to hand. It starts with a quarter of a turn to get parallel with your partner. And the legs stay straight when you do that. You do a back step so the hip settles to bring the knee back. And you go to neutral. And then you settle and transfer. And then a forward walk turning. Go to neutral because you have to settle to move this leg. 2, go to neutral. 3, forward walk turning. I'm going to do these towards the camera. Again, you have to be in neutral to settle somewhere. A common mistake, I'll show 2. For example, when we do a New Yorker, and 2, and 3, and 4. Whoa, that was a little. I've already settled. I can't settle to move this foot because I'm done. It's 4, and. This is a weight transfer or twist. Okay, so you have to, when you take your side steps, you got to hold. You got to hold this side up. So when you step backwards, I'll do it at this angle. When you step backwards, you can't just fly your hip back, because now you can't settle it back to go forward. So when I step back, I'm neutral. I will rotate this to get here, and I go straight back, and there can be even a little tuck here. Now, I'm still neutral, and as I transfer, I rotate back, and then I step forward in line. I've got a twist. My shoulders will go, and then my hips. Okay? And again, I'm neutral here, so that I can settle back to go 2, and 3, and 4. Neutral. Don't just settle. So I'm going to do them again. I'm just going to go this way. If there's any questions, I'm going to check it after this one. Please text something in. If there aren't any questions, just like do a smiley face or something. Okay, so I change direction, and I check. I transfer back after I settle. I change direction without bending this sucker, and side, but I don't crash. Now, a spot turn this way. I change direction and do a forward walk turning. I can track my foot if I want, but by the time I take step 3 here, or second step, third count, it must straighten before I arrive. Change direction, side step, don't crash. Quarter turn to do hand to hands. I go back 2, 3, forward walk turning, real tight as I turn. Again, everyone's legs and heights and everything, but this is all the bigger your step should be. If you're taking too big of a step, this is going to be harder. Okay? And then one more, we settle and step back, we transfer, forward walk turning, and half a turn. Shannon. Okay. That's my neighbor Shannon. They're already drinking in the cul-de-sac. They're probably wondering when I'm coming to join them. Day drinking is bad. Unless you're in quarantine, you have nothing else to do. This is why I shaved my beard. So, we have forward Latin walk, all the way over the foot. We have a back Latin step. Straighten the leg before you land. We have a turning walk forward, where you step in line or lightly across the standing leg. Turn. We have a check walk, where we get 60-40, 70-30, whatever. Okay? And then transfer and do whatever. We have a transfer. So, like ladies, everyone's basic. You step back. Don't even bend the knee. Just leave it straight, transfer your weight. A side action is you still must straighten the leg and put your weight onto it, but don't crash early. A delayed walk forward. So very quickly, we were doing a spot turn. I want to tell you the difference between a spot turn and a switch turn, the way I understand it anyways. All right. A spot turn is I change direction, and I do a Latin walk forward, 2. And notice I'm facing this way when I say 2. And 3. And 4. The reason why I want to demonstrate this is because I'm going to do a delayed walk. If you remember, a delayed walk is where you very quickly point the foot where it's going to go, and then you switch faster. Now, this is called a switch turn. On the spot turn, and a switch turn's purpose is to make it look faster. Often, you will do switch turns when you do this in cha-cha because you want to be fast. Okay, so when I do a spot turn, I say and 2, and I've done a quarter of a turn. On the next I've done a half a turn. On a switch turn, I say and 2, and I've already done all the turn on 2 and 3. or before 3. And then 3 is the same, and 4 is the same. So spot turn is 2, and 3, and 4. Spot turn, 2, 3, 4. Switch turns, and 2, 3, 4. Switch turn, and 2, 3, 4. It's a delayed walk. And an extended walk is the lady's alemana. If the lady did an alemana from fan, she would do a delayed walk, an extended walk, and then this could be side, forward in line. It depends on which figure you're doing next. So, if anyone has any questions, you can message me. Again, we had a couple requests. I did this, I think, 2 or 3 Mondays ago, and some people missed it or it didn't save. We'll save it. Understand what walks you're doing, and you're in good shape. Again, yeah, ladies, press walk forward. Okay? That's, in bronze, you're doing that in a closed hip twist. And again, closed hip twist for ladies. Let me do it this way. It starts with half a turn before the 2, and you step back 2, transfer 3, press walk forward 4, and 1, and 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Anyways, thanks for coming, and we'll do something again soon. Thanks. Hey, Ronco.